Good afternoon. Okay, so I have no idea what I'm doing with this channel at this point. It's been probably like a year since I posted virtually anything. And I don't know if it's because of COVID or everybody's at home or everybody's been at home that you get a lot of, and I'm going to sound ironic saying this, a lot of armchair scientists and a lot of armchair medical professionals. So I have a background in actual microbiology. And I just see some of the most inane crap on Twitter. And it's like I tell my wife all the time, but she doesn't want to hear about it anymore. So I figure, I picked out 7 tweets that I just wanted to kind of go over and add in, I guess, some context to this just bunch of crap out here. These people, literally, it's diarrhea of their mouth. They have no idea what they're talking about. And yet here we are. So this is the first thing I wanted to go over real quick. Equating the flu with COVID shows you know nothing about medicine. The flu is caused by infection. COVID is caused by virus. These are 2 different entities. What I think this guy is trying to say is he's confused by that there's 2 different viruses out in the world. In fact, I believe there's like 260 different versions of the common cold. Flus mutate every single year into a new version of a flu, and it's the most effective because your body's pretty much resistant to the last one. COVID itself is also still a virus. It's just, I don't know where people are getting this information. It's like they have half a brain working and that's it. I still don't understand any of this, but let's see. So that's not how viruses work. If the host dies, it's less likely to spread, which is true. If the virulence of a virus is too high, the host can actually end up expiring because it is just too powerful. In fact, there was a variant out in Argentina that was so lethal. Basically, you have these things called interferons. Interferons basically are cells screaming for help when they're infected with a virus, right? One of the bad things about COVID is this will actually decrease production of interferons by about 90%. So that's obviously bad. Well, the Argentina version decreased it by 99%, which is even worse. So the body didn't even know it was infected because interferons are relied upon to let the body know, hey, we need to do something. HIV, Ebola, Marburg, rabies, smallpox, hantavirus, which hantavirus is scary by the way, influenza, dengue, rotavirus, SARS, MERS, viral hepatitis, all viruses known for killing the host. The case fatality amongst Marburg was 100% in the 2017 outbreak in Uganda. If you think viruses don't kill you, you don't know shit, which is true. Do you think Marburg can cause be radiation sick? Not cause it, be radiation sickness through exposure to intense. It's like, when a kid comes home and they learned a new word and they want to use it all the time, even if it's not like actually the correct word or they're not using it in the right context. This is exactly the same thing. Do you think Marburg can be radiation? No. It's actually literally a disease, a sickness that you have. It's not intense electromagnetic fields. Now, I'm no physicist, but I'm fairly certain electromagnetic fields, while actually magnetism can affect your ability for your neurons to fire if, you were standing on like a quasar or something, it's not going to do this. Like, the electromagnetic fields you would need would be so bad. I don't know if there's any that are actually produced. There's none produced by Earth naturally, just out in nature right now that I know of. Humans might be able to build something similar, but not happening likely. Okay. Urine is filtered blood. It's not a byproduct. We are designed with a medicine. Why is this so hard to believe? Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. A lot of people actually don't know there is just a built-in kind of mechanism within your blood. They're called complements, and they can actually inhibit bacterial and viral infections from spreading before they get out there too much. So it kind of helps the immune system, and they just naturally exist within our blood. So I think that's maybe what he's saying. It's used as information to our bodies never mind. We read the antibodies with our glands under our tongue. It's that powerful that it can make antivenom from a... See video next comment. Plus, we also pee it out for external... Oh, this guy's literally just talking about pee. Okay, so hold up. We read the antibodies in pee with our glands under our tongue. So Is it necessary for him to drink urine? No, but it's sterile, and he likes the taste. It's also great for our skin conditions as it cuts as an antiseptic. Good for the hair as well. There is waste in urine, but what in truth is that it's only micro amounts. It doesn't harm, but rather gives like a vaccine to our bodies in these small amounts. That's why members will say they never get the common cold anymore. This guy's actually drinking pee, it looks like. Okay. So he's obsessed with pee, or he or she. I don't know. It could be something. I don't really care who it is. Whoever it is probably shouldn't be covering themselves in pee. But, you know, it's probably not our problem because I'm pretty sure everybody's going to just avoid them regardless because they smell like pee. So, why? Okay. This is, I actually read this one earlier. This is my favorite. What you should know about DNA upgrade abilities. The world is changing, and many people are getting DNA upgrade abilities. More and more people are experiencing what is known as 12-strand DNA activation. In simple terms, our DNA is unlocking the 10 ethereal strands that what? You know, genetics is very corporeal. It's the human experience of it builds us. It builds every animal. It builds every plant. It builds fruits, vegetables, whatever. It's not some ethereal thing. Now, there is always the argument, do we have a soul? Do we not have a soul? Is a soul encoded in DNA? And I think that's where she's coming from, because back in, if I remember correctly, like 1998, we had mapped all but like 10% of the human genome, and it was suggested that 10% was the human soul. It's just like astrology girls learned a little bit about genetics, and now it's like we're unlocking the 12th chromosome of DNA activation. We're all going to be ethereal guys. I don't get it. Like, if you don't know what you're talking about, Beck 89, 70, this is obviously a bot account, and I'm getting botted right now. Oops. Because, what is it? First name, bunch of numbers. That's how you know. Just so you know, both antibacterial and antiviral products work against nature. Both bacteria and viruses are meant to keep you well. I am not surprised a blue check mark would say this. Now, devil's advocate, I will say, maybe he's saying if you live your life not being infected by anything, then you're actually more susceptible to it. Well, that's why our immune system even exists in the first place, because there's basically just a constant war on this planet between bacteria, viruses, multicellular organisms, everything, trying to get everything else because everything wants to survive. But those things don't exist to keep you well. In fact, if those didn't exist at all, then we wouldn't have as many problems, like, you know, diseases. We probably would still have cancer, though. But it's just, why? And this was only tweeted out like 5 days ago, and it's painful every time. Like, I would have to ask, how does antibacterial and antiviral products, I mean, they work against nature, which, if you didn't know, side tangent, if you are using bacterial hand or antibacterial hand soap, stop. You're making the bacteria in the sewers a lot stronger than it should be. And we're actually finding that our actual antibiotics up on the surface aren't working as well because of what's down in the sewer. So don't do that. But antiviral products work against nature. Yeah. You know what else works against nature? You know what is nature? Smallpox, polio, cancers. That's what nature is. Working against nature isn't such a bad thing if you want to survive more than 30 years. Bacteria and viruses are not meant to keep you well. They are organisms that, seeing an opportunity in your body to use your body for nutrients, which means that robs those nutrients from your body, they will destroy it. So Garrett Kramer smoking something, I think. I forgot I added this one. Don't have sex with someone you're not married to. You won't have to worry about unexpected pregnancies that way. I guess I get it. Okay. All right, so it seems like what she's saying, if you know your husband has had a vasectomy or something like that, or you know your husband's gonna like at least warn you or push you off of him, then you're good. But somebody you don't know, maybe they just lie about it, I don't know. But it's not like, unless this is directed at men. But even then, most children on the planet are mistakes. I was an accident. My mom likes to tell me I was the result of a bottle of tequila in the back of a Camaro, something like that. I don't know. I don't remember. Anyways, so it's just okay. Moving on. This was incredibly stupid. COVID finally hit our house. Every middle child has very minor symptoms. The rest of us are still negative. Middle child has not everybody. Not will be every middle child. Everyone is home and waiting PCR test to be sure. I am grateful for everyone having their shots and boosters. If it's minor symptoms, not COVID. COVID is a disease. If you don't have the cytokine storm thrombosis in your lungs, if all you have is cold symptoms, you don't have COVID. Misreported for 2 years. Most diseases don't clear up in 3 days. Okay, let's go with the first part. If it's minor symptoms, you don't have COVID. No, you do, actually, because you're still infected by the literal virus. Now, obviously, things can get worse for some people. Some people can quite literally have, the cytokine storm. They can have blood clots, not just in their lungs, but in their body in general, which can lead to heart attacks. It can lead to strokes. You have some people who just get totally just wrecked by it, which is really sad. But it all is dependent upon how your body reacts to it. And I've read something that's pretty interesting where, you guys might think this is interesting too. So a while back, I actually did a genetic test on myself, and I found that I had basically like 61% more Neanderthal DNA than the average person. Now, 61% more does not mean I'm over 60% Neanderthal. Because somebody got upset like that and they're trying to make like a gotcha on me, and I'm like, that's 61% more. That's not the same thing. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But what they're starting, or what they may have found, is that on the 18th chromosome, there is a inherited gene from Neanderthal that makes you react less aggressively to mRNA viruses. So it's kind of like, let's just take you back, I guess. Back when we were coming out of Africa, we weren't, as Homo sapiens, we weren't the first wave. Actually, we found that Homo erectus made it out first. Once Homo erectus had migrated out, moved up to Asia and then in Europe, Homo erectus in Europe became Homo neanderthalensis. So evolution continued, yada, yada, yada. And so, like I said, it resulted in Homo neanderthalensis, and then Homo sapiens migrated out. Well, within Europe and Asia, mRNA viruses were more common. So because those were more common, there was likely a massive plague that wiped out a ton of Homo erectus, and the ones that were left over were ones who didn't have such a strong response. So eventually Homo sapiens came up, mated with Homo neanderthalensis, and made us. Well, some of us, I guess. Some of us have a lot more of the DNA, some of us have less of it. But if you inherited on that 18th chromosome that genetic sequence, your body doesn't react as aggressively to mRNA viruses. So that can actually have an effect as far as if it gets really bad. So we know with COVID, it's really what the biggest issue is. It's either the body reacting too little or too much. In terms of too much, blood clots, just can't breathe, all that terrible stuff. Reacts too little, the virus just runs rampant and just ransacks your system. It's basically you need to fall in that sweet spot. Now, the biggest thing to understand is most people do fall in that sweet spot. Some people, they're put down for like 3 weeks, right? And they're still in that sweet spot though. Some people, like 2 days. So I ended up actually being the type of person who had COVID for like 2 days. It was 6 p.m. I started sweating. I actually did a video on my main channel kind of talking about my experience and yada, yada, yada. But yeah, for like 2 days, that was it. I had some sweating, had a little bit of a low-grade fever. I mean, I did my whole quarantine and everything, but I was like, that was it. My dad, on the other hand, he got sick, and he was sick for like 3 weeks. So the weird thing is the higher Neanderthal DNA comes from my mom's side. My mom, I mean, this thing's been going on for like 2 years at this point, a little more than 2 years, and she's been out and supposedly has never caught it. So I don't know if she just didn't recognize it or what, but the point is that you can have COVID without the cytokine storm and thrombosis. You're still infected with the virus. As for misreporting, things happen. I mean, they really do. So most diseases don't clear up in 3 days. That's bullcrap. Every cold I've ever gotten, I don't even catch the flu. I mean, I'm a carrier for the flu, but the flu doesn't affect me. Colds, I'm done in 2 days. That's it. So, but anyways, guys, I hope this was interesting. I'm actually really curious to see what you guys think down in the comments. I know this isn't necessarily like what I normally do, but it's definitely, I don't know, I just see so much of this crap, and I think it's so stupid, and I don't want like this channel to die or anything. So if you did find this interesting, let me know down in the comments. If you hated it, also let me know. Just remember, anything you start at first is very, very raw, I guess you could say. Like this is, obviously, maybe I'll get better lighting, maybe, I do have my light up though, maybe I'll get better sound. We'll just have to wait and see. Anyhow, let me know if you guys enjoyed, and I will see everybody in the next one.